Hi. So
Okay.
he's pro and I'm
And I'm con and he's pro. I'm pro and he's con.
So why do you think the Nazis are responsible for it? The only ones responsible for it?
Because Nazi is the main one who inspired the German citizens to really hate Jews, and they stimulated the German citizens to kill Jews and they took out the hatred toward the Jews.
But how can all the deaths of the Jews be like blamed on only the Nazi themselves? Because according to research, like even though the Nazis were on power and they made the rules, other nations did not try to help the Jews inside the country, and also so that's why they can also be blamed for the killing of the Jews.
But without the existence of the Nazi Party, there wouldn't be any Holocaust and massacre of Jews. And Nazis the only one, the main one who suggested the idea of persecution of Jews.
But I think that to blame the whole Holocaust, 6 million deaths, on only the Nazi Party is too extreme, since we don't have like they were blamed for the Holocaust, but I don't think that they're the only ones to be blamed for. For example, apart from the other nations, the civilians also ignored what was happening to them. Like during class, we learned about how they turned their backs and did not care about what happened to the Jews when they were sent to concentration camps. So I believe that even though the Nazis took part of the Holocaust as they guided, they're not the only ones responsible for it.
And after the World War I, many German citizens had hatred towards Jews inside their heart, but they didn't express it out in the public. And without, if there was no Nazi Party, they wouldn't express their hatred toward Jews because they were just holding on to it. But when Hitler came out, he made a speech of persecution of Jews, and everyone agreed with him because they had the hatred toward Jews. So I think Hitler and the Nazi Party is the main cause that made people to kill Jews.
But then we learned in class that rebellions of citizens can lead to something better, like they want to. So since the German population was not all consisted of the Nazis, I think that if the civilians joined, like Hitler joined the Nazi Party, if the civilians joined to go against the Nazi Party and defend the Jews, they would be able to prevent 6 million deaths. So therefore, they're also blamed for the Holocaust, not only the Jews, because the civilians, as we learned with a bit of anger and junction, they can actually rebel against the government, even though it was a dictatorship and Hitler could do anything he wanted. I don't think that the Hitler and the Nazi Party were the only ones responsible for the Holocaust.
Well, I think it's hard for citizens to rebel because Hitler has the SS army and the absolute dictatorship. So when one is trying to rebel at the first time, Hitler would have killed him in one night. So I think it would be difficult for citizens to rebel.
But if everyone joined together, Hitler cannot just order the death of everyone in Germany.
Yeah, but Hitler is not going to let them join. He's gonna try to prevent all the people from joining, and I think he actually tried it.
But I think no group, not such a strong group was formed to go against Hitler. Like maybe small groups were joined around Germany, but they weren't enough to beat Hitler. But I think that with more effort, they could have attempted to take over Hitler, because we saw in history before that strong leaders are taken off from power because of the unhappiness of the civilians. But I think that, as you said, racism around Germany was pretty high, right, against the Jews. So the Nazis, they were strong on that, but I think that the civilians did also cause the Jews, because the Nazis kind of pushed them to.
I think in the research there was some kind of rebellion in the party, and some leaders tried to rebel, and try to
So,
kill
I
Hitler by
realized
using a
that
bomb,
after
but
my
it failed.
research, I realized
So
that some
they were all
German
executed,
people, they
and
actually
everyone
tried to
thought
help the
the
Jewish
rebellion
people
was
by
impossible. So like
hiding
in
them
example, for example, in
from
like North
Nazis and
Korea,
everything. So most of
Kim
them,
Jong Il
from
and
research
his
again,
party has
it's shown
the
that
absolute power, and
they
nobody
actually
can
participate
like,
actually
think of the
gladly,
rebellion
like,
because they will be
gleefully
executed.
in
They're
the
all scared.
Holocaust.
So I think rebellion is really hard in that kind of situation.
I think that you're saying like the power of the dictatorship, and then Hitler was the supreme leader, right? So he is the one that makes all the decisions, and there was a decision called the final solution,
Are you saying
which
that
was to kill
the
all
start
Jews.
is like the
And
most well,
I think
start
that
are the only ones who are
even though the
responsible.
Nazis were the main force to go against the Jews, I still think that with the help of other nations, like as you said, North Korea, maybe they can't do it by themselves, but with the help of other nations such as the US and South Korea itself, they can actually go against their leader. And I think that in the past, during the Holocaust, the other countries such as Britain, Russia, and France, they ignored what was happening in Germany, letting Hitler like take over everything and kill all the Jews. So I think the blame can be separated into the Nazi because it's inevitable that the Nazi took part of the Holocaust, right? But the question says that the Nazi were the only ones, and I don't think that's.
And the like countries part, in fact, the countries really actually ignore like the Jews, right,
I don't think that's really
genocide.
arguable,
But I think a lot of countries were not in the condition of
even though
helping
there are
other
propagandas,
like race because
they still
after the World War
knew the
One,
situation
they
very
had to
clearly.
like
Therefore,
recover
some
and
Germany,
recover their country and
some
like
Germans
buildings and
will help
infrastructures.
Nazis.
So they didn't really have chance to help Jews, and mainly America was starting to isolate.
No, I agree. I definitely agree that
And
Nazis and
they didn't like really have to help the other countries because they were in the hard conditions.
But I think that after World War One, the countries agreed to create the League of Legends, League of Nations, League of Nations. So they basically agreed that they would help countries in need. So by not helping Germany and even not helping other countries, such as when Japan invaded the oceanic countries, I think that's what happened with Germany itself. And the countries, even though they agreed to help in any condition, by ignoring the German power, many Jews suffer the consequences. So yeah, I think they're also to be blamed.
Yeah, and but like when Jews were persecuted, it was during like World War II, when Hitler attacked Poland, and every like allied countries were like in panic because they were ready for the war, and America didn't join the war at first because so if they helped Jews, they would be treated as enemy of Germany, so they didn't have to join, and the other like British and like French and other allied countries were panicking about like making the weapons, so they didn't have any chance to really actually help Jews. So I think nations are not to blame for this.
For their protection. But then sometimes you have to fight for what's right. So even though after the conference, as the President of the United States, as we learned in class, he said that Hitler was a good man. He was basically ignoring what his plans were and what he was doing actually in Germany. And when they found out after Germany invaded Poland that Hitler was indeed attacking other nations and killing Jews, I don't think they did such a sufficient effort to help them. And like you said that it's because they did not want to fight against the German power, right? Yeah. But I think that they should have fought for what's right instead of taking care of their own country. Because as we know, the world has become like united, so every country depends on every country, and I don't think the Jews could have done much without the help of the other countries, such as Britain.
Yeah, but like all the countries cannot help others when if it's right, because they don't have any chance to help the Jews, because they're the ones who are in like disasters and attack, and a lot of Europeans in fact hated Jews because like it says Jews are the ones who killed Jesus. So many Europeans hate Jews, and they didn't actually want to help Jews because they also hated Jews. So I think they're not responsible for helping Jews because they didn't actually like Jews.
So you said that many Europeans hated Jews, right? So basically, the Nazis are not the only ones responsible for the Holocaust.
But they didn't do anything. But they didn't help or persecute them.
But they didn't help also. So that means they can also be accounted for. By not helping and knowing that that's happening, it's considered.
But as I mentioned, they're not in the condition of helping others. Because they had to rebuild their country and prepare for the World War II and fight against Germany. So their main enemy was like, Germany not to help, attack Germany not to help Jews. It is really hard to
But then, the countries are not in condition for helping Jews, but they're in condition for attacking Germany.
Yeah, they have to protect their country first. They have to protect their citizens first, not Jews.
But then they're basically ignoring the Jews then, so they're also responsible for
Well, I think protecting their citizens is more important than helping the other race.
But I think they're still accounted for it. Like for example, if a killer kills a person, right? But then one other person sees the killer killing the other person and does not do anything because he's afraid that the killer will kill him. And that's basically the same thing. Because
For example, your family is in danger. They're in this ocean, drowned, and there was one guy who is also drowned, but you're saving your family. Is that like your fault of not saving the boy?
yeah, I still believe it's your fault because
you have to save your family first, not the other boy.
but then you're basically ignoring the other boy. So you're also but you could save him. That's the possibility of saving
But
him makes
you couldn't save him.
No, you could.
No.
You could.
In World War II, they had to protect their citizens first, not
No,
Jews.
but they were protecting their citizens from the Germans. So why not help the Jews also? Because the Jews were also against the Germans.
Because they need to take over the countries back. You know, like for example, France and Germany is attacking British, so British had to protect their own country.
But I think that the Allies' power, like the United States and Britain, gained so much wealth and land after beating like other nations.
But Germany was stronger.
But still, everyone was together against Germany.
They
It's
were like
like
all defeated.
5 nations against Germany.
They're all defeated except like British and like America. French was defeated, and Poland was defeated, Czechoslovakia was defeated, Luxembourg was defeated.
Yeah, maybe.
But still,
I understand
big powers such as Russia and the United States that are way more powerful than Germany stayed.
No, they were not powerful
They
than
were more
Germany.
powerful than
No.
Germany.
If America was powerful than, if Russia was more powerful than Germany, they could have just beat Germany in 1 second, but they couldn't. Germany was in like bad position because they had to attack all the country by themselves. And like
But they were all attacking Germany together. So why not
but they
also
couldn't
help?
beat.
So why
They
not
couldn't beat
also?
Germany in like 5 years.
Why not also help the Jews if you're attacking the same enemy?
They couldn't go into the Germany. It was really hard to go in and help the Jews. Okay.